What is going on, everyone? It's GeneralTarheel bringing you the PMU-D League Wi-Fi Season 2 Week 6 battle versus Coach PolishElf and the Soviet Slowkings. Coming into Week 6, we did get our Week 5 win against Coach Hendo last week, bringing Victory Bell in the Sun. It was pretty fun. Go check it out. That was straight fire, just like Victory Bell in the Sun. Anyways, as for Week 6, we are facing Polish and his very bulky roster. I normally have a problem facing Polish, so I knew this was going to be a close match and an interesting one at that. Definitely just was hoping to continue this win streak, as I'll keep saying, because I really want to try and go undefeated. It'd be the legend. But as for Polish's roster, it consists of Latios, Suicune, Fortress, Greninja, Togetic, Rotom Fan, Mega Charizard Y, Breloom, Mamoswine, Mimikyu, and Kecleon. His two Z users being Latios and Greninja. And just looking at that roster, Charizard Y is a threat easily. And it's really bulky between Latios, Suicune, and Fortress, jeez. And he has very strong offense and like setup with Mimikyu. Greninja as a Z user is ridiculous. I really wish it could be my Z user and APA Wi-Fi, but limited to the two. Breloom very strong. Mamoswine's ridiculously strong. Doesn't even need setup. Thank goodness it can't get set up. So he's definitely got a lot of major threats. And as for my team and the team build, it consisted of Jolteon. We will start off with that. Has just an offensive Jolteon with enough speed to speed creep Latios, I believe, with Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Hidden Power, Flying, and Baton Pass. This just basically allowed strong momentum and had a lot of coverage. Last second, I was really debating whether or not... Wait, why was his Volt Switch and Baton Pass? That was a mistake. Okay, yeah, I was really considering switching Baton Pass to Shadow Ball in order to hit the Lottie. I don't know why I brought Volt Switch and Baton Pass. If that was specifically for the Mamoswine, that was really dumb still. So that was a genning error. Should have been Shadow Ball so I could hit the Latios, and then it'd be a lot more of an offensive threat. But Hidden Power Flying to hit the Breloom, because I really didn't need Hidden Power Ice this match, because Mamoswine I would want to switch out in on anyways, since that is his ground type. And HP Ice onto a thick fat Pokemon with neutral, that's going to do absolutely nothing. So Hidden Power Flying just allowed me to bop that Breloom. And then next up, I did bring the Sun again, which was pretty dumb. Literally the same exact set last week on Victory Bell with Growth, Weather Ball, Sludge Ball, and Giga Drain. I got carried away after the previous week with Hendo, and I really just wanted to bring it again. It was pretty dumb because he does have counters like 1, Mimikyu eats it and can get off a Shadow Claw and then into a Shadow Sneak. 2, Latios is bulky on the Spadef side and can even be a Calm Mind if it wanted to. 3, Kecleon is bulky as frick on the Spadef side, and I did not notice that. It's a very underrated mon. So I don't really know why I brought Victory Bell. And then we have Torkoal. We have a Spadef Torkoal with Stealth Rock, Will-O-Wisp, Solar Beam, and Stone Edge. Drought with Heat Rock. This was basically just to be the Sunsetter, like I already mentioned, but also be... I don't know what kind of check this was. It was really just for Torkoal. So I'm already having 3 bad sets so far, in my opinion. I mean, Jolteon puts a lot of offensive work on, but it's said I could have fixed there. Next up, which was an important mon, was a Assault Vest Crocodile with Intimidate. I had Aerial Ace, Knockoff, Earthquake, Rock Slide. This just allowed me to live a Solar Beam from the Charizard Y if he wanted to go for it, or a Fire Blast in the Sun. And then it's also a good check to a offensive Latios. It allows me to live a Hydro Pump from Greninja if needed. Just a lot of things. Basically, it's just one case scenarios where I can live a hit, but it throws him off guard and it gets me a kill, which is very important. Aerial Ace allows me to hit the Breloom, which basically Crocodile allows Breloom to just get up a free Swords Dance or sub if he's Toxic Heal, so I really don't want that. Knockoff gets rid of any items, of course. Earthquake, just strong stab, and then Rock Slide specifically for the Charizard Y. And then next up we have the Skarmory. This was a just about a max defense in order to take on his Mamoswine and his Breloom, basically. Brave Bird, Roost, Rock Slide, Toxic. Mainly Rock Slide just so I can hopefully catch the Charizard Y in. if he thought I was going to go for Stealth Rocks on that turn. And then Toxic mainly for the Latios if it is some Calm Mind set, since that seems like that's all people are bringing now on Latios is just the Calm Mind set, which not saying it's bad, it's really good, but it's not what you always need to bring. And then Brave Bird just allows me to get a hit off on the Breloom if I need to, break the Mimikyu's Disguise, just small things like that. I just needed coverage. I could have went Iron Head, but I opted Brave Bird just so I could kill the Breloom if I wanted to. And then lastly, we have a Scarf Lucario, which was Adamant. This was justified. It had Rock Slide, Close Combat, Ice Punch, and Iron Tail. Just did a lot of work. Mainly, I wish it could be set up. I wish Lucario was like base 100 or something like that. 90 is just too low. But this did allow us to get a good amount of damage off on the Latios with Ice Punch. Rock Slide, Scarf allows me to outspeed the Charizard Y, of course. Unless he's a Tailwind set. And basically his team's just really weak to it. I don't do much to a defensive Fortress, but I really doubt he was going to bring that because of Torkoal and my Mega Charizard X. And then Scarf Close Combat also allows me to catch the Greninja off guard. And as for starting off the battle, when I was happy to see no Charizard Y and no Mamoswine, I was like, oh boy. And you see the Rotom Fan, I'm like, I'm really confused about that. But I was opting just to lead Jolteon. He has no electric immunity, and I get a free Volt Switch off, basically, if I wanted to. Or just a free T-Bolt. And once again, sorry for the recording not having any sound. It was recorded at the same time as my previous APA against Bandit Category for Week 4, so there was just a problem with the recording there. So as we lead Jolteon, he does leave the Rotom Fan. I really should have just opted to get off a free T-Bolt, but I wanted to Volt Switch out just to see what he was going to do. And he does go for Hidden Power Ground turn 1, showing he is a Scarf Rotom Fan, which is pretty interesting. As I Volt Switch out, I don't really know 100% what I want to take this on. So I go into Scarm just because I know he is Choice, and this does allow me to pull a double directly back into my Jolteon, considering he doesn't have a good check for this. And his switch into this should be his Greninja. So that's exactly what I do, and it goes perfectly, because he doesn't have the Charizard Y to capitalize on my Skarmory. Even then, if he did have the Y, Jolteon was still going to be a strong double this turn, as he does have to switch out again, as I'm just going to go for the Volt Switch. It kills the Greninja a million %. If he's Focus Sash, it's whatever. So as we go for the Volt Switch, he goes in the Latios, does a decent amount of damage because it was a crit, and then I'm just going to go right into my Crocodile here, as I can take a Draco Meteor from this thing easily, and Knockoff should kill this thing depending on its item. The only thing that will live is if it's a Colbert Latios. So he does go for the Draco Meteor here, as Crocodile's just going to eat this up. It should only do around 50%. Yep, does around 45%. Special attack goes down, Knockoff, and of course, whenever you're facing a Latios, it is going to be Colbur Berry if you have a strong Dark type. It just gets so annoying at this point. And then this really just allows him to switch out here. He goes into Boo, which is his Breloom. I just click Knockoff again because basically I can still take out that Lottie even if it does roost up. And we get rid of his Toxic Orb, and this was where it's helpful. I do die to Mach Punch, but I really doubt he goes for it here, considering I have Scarm in the back. And we do get off the Aerial Ace and take out the Breloom, so the tech showed to be very helpful there. And as he's done with that, he goes into the Greninja. Now I really don't have a switch into Greninja, so I'm just going to bank on him being like a Spike set and over predicting. So as I'm just going to let Crook go down. I got the Lottie into red, which I can take care of easily now, and it killed the Breloom. It really had no other importance to me this match. So I wasn't really worried about it. And this just allows me to free switch into my Jolteon again. So once again, I'm just going to be clicking the Volt Switch, as he will switch out here and he will be going into the Rotom Fan, which is smart because he does live and now he gets off a free hit. And I kind of played this really awkwardly and poorly all at the same time. Like, I really didn't want to go into my Lucario and show up with Scarf here, but I went into Torkoal. I could have just clicked Lava Plume here, but I decided to go into Jolteon because I just Air Slashing. he went for Air Slash and I got up Stealth Rocks, so this was really dumb play. I mean, the Stealth Rocks were good, I'm not going to lie about that. But the play I make here, I really risk my Jolteon here on the switch in, taking the Air Slash, and then I'd be able to kill it afterwards if I don't get Air Slash flinched, because I do take 2 Air Slashes from the percent I'm at. As it goes for the Air Slash, we do take it pretty easily, only does 20%. As he goes for the second Air Slash, we are going to live this. I just have to make sure, or hope I don't get flinched, which I do not. And I do get off the Volt Switch, and the Rotom does go down. Never thought I would see a Rotom fan actually be slightly annoying to me, so that was interesting. And then we are just going to go right into my Lucario here, because his main answer to this should be his Greninja, which it is, which is great, because even though I do show I am Scarf now, I do get off this close combat and kill the Greninja if he opts to stay in, because he cannot be sashed with the Stealth Rocks. Well, he can be sashed, but it's irrelevant with the Stealth Rocks now. And the Scarf close combat will take out the Greninja, which is very nice. So my prep is doing very well so far. Plays have been pretty well, having the momentum in my favor. Now he does go out into Mimikyu, because this is free setup, as he knows he has Scarf. Free turn, and he has this guy's. This is actually pretty scary. I'm just going to want to go right into Skarmory here, I believe. Yep. Because this does take it on easily. As he makes a interesting double going into the Latios, which is very smart, because this allows him just to get off a free Roost now, which is very clever, because this thing does prove to still be a pain at this point. But I'm going to stay in knowing he's going to recover and just get off the Toxic. As for my next play, I really just want to swap out here. I don't want to risk him being HP Fire, offensive HP Fire, but I should have known at this point he was probably Calm Mind. But still didn't want to take the risk for Skarmory, and because I needed this thing for Mimikyu. So I want to swap out and just go on the Jolteon. Jolteon dies to a Shadow Sneak from Mimikyu anyways, and I don't know, it just didn't seem that useful at this point, as he just opt to go for the Psy Shock, and that will cause my Jolteon to go down. And as he takes more toxic damage, if he is a max defensive Latios, this does put him in range of Ice Punch for sure now. So I can go into my Lucario, as I am Choice Scarfed, and I'm just going to go for the Ice Punch, and that will take out the Latios, which is very nice. Now he will opt to go into his Kecleon here, which I found very interesting. I'm like, Mimikyu still seems like a decent option here, but he opted to go the Kek. So I wanted to switch out here to scout what this thing was going for, because it does have a good move pool along with the Protein, so I know it might be going for something interesting. And sure enough, as I sent out the Torkoal, he does opt to go for the Fire Punch, which is pretty scary. Considering this thing's going to be pretty bulky and kind of a nuisance. As he does show to be leftovers, and he does show to be a mix attack and bulky set. So he shows he has Rock Tomb, which is pretty interesting. Showing that for the Megazord X, which is actually a really cool tech. And then I do live, which is very nice, and we are going to get off this Will-O-Wisp, which is actually very important for this battle, because Kecleon proves to be a pain. And he gets his lefties in the burn. I'm just going to stay in here, let him kill me. There's no point in making a switch, because Fire Punch will be doing a lot to any of my Pokemon left, as I do have 2 Steals and Victory Ball in the back. But this importance for Fire Punch here. This that Will-O-Wisp allowed Victory Bell to live a Fire Punch in the sun, which is very important. Didn't think Torkoal's Sun was going to bite me in the butt this game, but it is showing that he is right now, so that kind of sucks. So we're going to go into Victory Bell, and we just have to get damage off to where Lucario can kill this thing. That's all we need to do. Now, I did not want to go for Growth, because Fire Punch into Shadow Sneak would take me out if he did have it. As he does go for the Fire Punch, we will live after the Life Orb, which is very important. This allows me to get off 2 more hits after this, unless he does have the Shadow Sneak. I'm just opting to go for the weather ball here because this does the most damage, and if he's just HP attack, this, oh no, I didn't go for weather ball. I went for sludge bomb because I thought this was still a kill, but once he did show Elise, he did have some split F investment. I knew that, but after this recover, it does have a chance of putting him in range of the weather ball, because he will get the lefties and the burn will just about to negate the lefties. Basically, if I went for weather ball the turn before, this Kecleon would have been dead, and this game would have been a lot easier. But I go for the weather ball this time, and I do get a pretty poor roll on it, as he does live again. That showed basically he died before, because he was at a higher percent than he was last turn, and he's just gonna go for the recover again, knowing I'll go down life orb. Very straightforward. I could have went for growth, but at the same time, once again, if he had shadow sneak, that was a poor play. He could have went for it then on my victory bell, like when I clicked sludge bomb beforehand, but like, I don't know. Assuming he didn't have it at this point, assuming it might have been a stealth rocks variant. So as we go on to Lucario here, I am forcing myself to lock in Iron Tail. If I lock myself into close combat, one Mimikyu comes in and gets up the Swords Dance for free, and getting up at +4 just means it can take out my Scarm, especially if it's a Shadow Z Mimikyu. So I locked myself in Iron Tail, as I can do this, and at this point I am forced to stay in and just hopefully land all these Iron Tails. As we land one, and the Mimikyu goes for Swords Dance, and now I cannot switch and do Skarmory, because if he goes for a second Swords Dance, Skarmory will go down to his E-move. I mean, I will have the Sturdy and everything, but I get off one hit, but a +4 Shadow Sneak will take on my Lucario. So I have to stay in, click Iron Tail again, and we do land it. So we land 3 70% accurate moves in a row, which is kind of amazing. And Lucario just does the cleanup for us, getting us a nice 2-0 against the PolishElf, making us undefeated still, rocking a 6-0 plus 22, I believe. I believe that's right, which is very cool. And as for next week, we'll be taking on the Cryodon Cryogonals and Coach Flub, which is a cool name. Make sure to check out my APA from the previous week. That'll be it for me. Sub, like, share, do